In the middle of a storm near a lake, while Sara was taking her last breath and her mom was crying, a bright light shone everywhere and the heavens opened up. Those around her bow and see her spirit come out of her body. This is the story of Sara Hopkins, a young kind girl who believes in God and passionately attends church. Now, she is following her brother Danny's soccer match with his girlfriend Cindy, who is very anxious about the game. While they were eagerly watching the match, her grandpa Sam arrived at the match and told her to pray since she always talks about God. Sara prayed and Danny scored an amazing goal, but his team lost the game after conceding a penalty at the last minute. Sara was sad that her prayers didn't work, but Sam told her that God works in mysterious ways and there was another reason why the team lost. After the match, Sara begs Danny to go to the lake. He agrees to take Sara after Cindy joins his sister and tells him she wants to go too. When she was about to start fishing, she found a dead bird and thought she could bring it back to life. Her brother is skeptical, but Sara prays wholeheartedly. After a while, Danny catches some fish for dinner with Cindy and they come back to pick up Sara, who is sitting happily alone. She tells them that she sees God floating over the water. Suddenly, the wind started to blow and the bird came back to life and flew away. Sara says God brought it to life, but Cindy and Danny looked at each other with confusion. Sara comes back from fishing and tells her grandpa Sam about the bird and that she saw God standing on the lake. He tells her she is special, but Sara is doubtful because nobody would believe her. Grandpa Sam tells her he believes her because she is a special girl and promises to talk to her mother, Bonnie. After dinner, Sara calls her best friend Mark, who is a paraplegic, and tells him about what happened to her at the lake. Mark didn't believe her, but when she insisted, he asked her what he looked like. She tells him that she couldn't see him at first because he was surrounded by a large ball of light, but when he stepped out of the light, he had the look of a young man and was kind. Mark questions what she saw when Sara told him God was wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Then, he agrees with what her parents thought, which was that the light was due to reflection on the waters and the bird wasn't dead in the first place. But, when Sara swore in the Bible that she saw God, Mark believed her and got excited for her. She tells him not to tell anyone and hangs up when Bonnie knocks on her door. While Bonnie lies with her daughter in bed, Sara tells her that what she saw at the lake was God and he told her that he will take her to heaven soon. Bonnie tells her that she would have to be old to die and forbids her from thinking about death ever again, making her promise not to let her imagination get the better of her. In the middle of the night, Danny wakes up his parents and tells them that Sara is sick and they call Dr. Ben Riley, who diagnoses her with stomach flu and tells Bonnie and her father, Alex, to keep her hydrated. Bonnie tells Ben about Sara's vision, but he tells her that it's probably her imagination. Later, Alex comes to Sara's room to check on her and sees Sara's realistic drawing of her vision of the lake. Alex, who hasn't seen his daughter draw anything like this before, is impressed by her drawing and shows it to Bonnie, who gets worried about what this all could mean. After missing class the following day, Sara meets Mark. He tells her she didn't miss the match and Sara gives him a picture that shows him playing basketball. Mark is amazed by the quality of the drawing and asks her about it. Sara simply replies saying she found something she was good at. After a while, a couple of bullies on bicycles came and started teasing Sara about her vision. But Danny, who was out with Cindy, arrives on the scene and scares them away. Then, Alvy, Danny's soccer rival, comes to Danny and starts taunting him. Danny was about to get into a fight with Alvy, but he ended up saving his life instead when one of his friends was going to run him over with his car accidentally. But, Alvy's dog was hit and killed instantly. Sara prays for the dog and it comes back to life. This makes everyone happy, including Alvy. Later, inspired by the miracle on the street, Mark becomes a believer and asks Sara to pray for him. Sara prays for him for some time and leaves after telling him she will pray at home when she gets home. Mark visits Dr. Ben with his parents the next day and moves his toes. Although it was a miracle, Ben tells Mark's parents not to get their hopes up, but gets completely shocked when he sees Mark come out walking a few minutes later. Mark celebrates with his parents and tells Dolores Clark, who was visiting the hospital, that Sara Hopkins was the reason for his healing. That night, Ben and Pastor Jerry Mack visit Sara. They ask her what happened and she tells them the same thing. But, they are reluctant to believe her, especially Ben. He believes there must be a logical explanation for what is happening and tells her parents not to encourage their daughter. Ben comes home to his wife, Elizabeth, who confronts him about his anger with God after losing their son, Jesse. He tells her that she doesn't need all the media attention pressuring her. Later, he proves his point after Dolores reports Sara's miracle on the evening news. At night, Sara has a vision about a girl named Teresa and draws a picture of her riding on a horse. Then, Teresa, a girl who is dying of cancer, is seen receiving a wooden horse from her uncle who is a priest. Teresa's mother watches the news about Sara and decides to try to give her daughter a chance. Teresa arrives at the house of the Hopkins, but a lot of people in wheelchairs are also there to see Sara. Alex and Bonnie are concerned about people gathered outside, and Alex thinks he should ask them to leave, but Sara tells her parents that she wants to pray for them. Her parents think this will make her a celebrity and affect her childhood, so they ask the people to go back to their home. Sara recognizes Teresa from the small crowd and goes to meet her. She tells her about her dream and prays for her. After the prayer, Teresa gets healed and celebrates with her mother and uncle. As Sara continues to pray for a blind girl, Teresa sees a vision of a man standing on her back and laying his hand on her. The blind girl and another boy in a wheelchair get healed, but Sara collapses on the stairs when she is about to go back in the house. Sara is taken to the clinic and her parents tell Ben about her being exhausted and drained after she prayed. Ben doesn't believe in miracles and recommends doing more tests to get an accurate diagnosis. Meanwhile, the press is gathered around the hospital and Ben tells them to get Sara out of the clinic and take her to the hospital. Cindy decides to keep the press busy, while Danny and Sara's parents get Sara out through the back. After going to the hospital, the family stays at Grandpa Sam's house for the night. Bonnie talks to her father about what Sara's miracle is doing to her daughter's health. Bonnie's fear comes true that night when she gets a call from the doctor telling her that her daughter is diagnosed with a brain tumor. The next day, Grandpa Sam goes to the lake and talks to God. He confesses his past sins and goes on his knees to beg him to save the life of his granddaughter. Sara, who was out playing with Danny, goes back to the house and hears Ben telling her parents about her diagnosis. Sara's brain tumor is inoperable and she is dying. Sara is heartbroken, but she goes to console her parents. Sara tells her parents that she doesn't want to go to the hospital, but she collapses in her mother's arms and they rush to St. Luke's Hospital. Sara tells her brother that she doesn't have much time and asks Cindy to sing her a song, which makes everyone cry. Danny gets a text from Grandpa Sam saying to come to his house with Cindy. Danny and Cindy arrive at the house and it is full of people including Mark's parents, Teresa, and her mother. Teresa testified about her healing and told everyone that Sara did see God, mentioning the vision she also saw him at the house. Then, Grandpa Sam devises a plan to take Sara to the lake that night, since it was the last thing Sara told him before she went to the hospital. Everyone decides to help Sara's last wish come true. While it was raining heavily outside, Teresa dressed like Sara and prepared to take her place while Danny and Cindy dressed like nurses. Grandpa Sam distracts Alex and Bonnie, taking them away from Sara, and claiming he has something to talk about with them. Danny exchanges Sara with Thursa with the help of Teresa's mother, who works as a nurse at the hospital. Then, Cindy pretends to be sick and collapses, taking the other nurses' attention while Danny gets Sara, sitting in a wheelchair, past the hallway. Finally, Danny and Teresa's mom drive away from the hospital. Alex and Bonnie eventually find out that Sara is not in the hospital and that she is going to the lake. Although there was heavy rain, everyone got in their car and followed them. The press also gets alerted by another person and they quickly leave in their van. The police start to chase Danny's speeding car, but Grandpa Sam cuts them off and helps Danny. Danny gets forced to stop the car when a giant tree falls in front of them. But Alvy shows up and helps Danny carry Sara through the mountains. Everyone, including her parents and the press, followed them. Danny and Alvy are stopped by a wolf, but Alvy's dog chases it away and they reach the lake. They start praying for Sara, whose pulse is going down by the minute. Everyone arrives and surrounds her. Bonnie blames her father and everyone who participated. Suddenly, a bright light shines on the lake and a portal opens. Everyone immediately goes down on their knees. Sara's spirit comes out of her body and goes to heaven with a man who wears jeans and a t-shirt, who immediately turns into a heavenly figure of Jesus. After the portal closes, Danny takes Sara's body to her room and everyone says their goodbyes. Bonnie forgives her father, knowing her daughter is in a better place. While Alex is talking about Sara's picture, which shows Sara's future vision of being taken to heaven, Danny notices another one of Sara's pictures, showing her coming out of the portal, and alerts everyone. Then, he gets on his knees and desperately prays for Sara, who comes back to life. After rejoicing with everyone, Sara goes out and speaks to the people outside, crediting God as the one who healed the sick people and encourages everyone to love one another. The next Sunday, everyone attends church, including Ben and his wife. At the end of the sermon, looking at the people outside, Sara tells her father about the parable Jesus taught about the faith as small as a mustard seed can grow and spread.